They're probably counting down the days on a calendar. It's the final piece of the puzzle. It pulls everybody in. The New York Times, the PR firms. Brian Friedman must be having an absolute field day.
Blake Lively just got publicly body slammed by none other than Candace Owens, and baby, it was messy. Owens didn't just drag her, she exposed her for orchestrating one of the shadiest PR-fueled legal stunts in Hollywood. This wasn't a lawsuit, it was a fairy tale gone criminal, a total fabrication, and yes, Candace had the receipts.
Could this mean that Blake Lively's lawsuit basically lost all their evidence?
Allegedly, Blake Lively created a completely bogus company just to serve subpoenas and flex power she legally never had. It was less legal claim and more Hollywood power trip and heels.
Molly Caro has since wiped all her socials. Girlfriend, if you are watching and looking, it is too late. The sleuths are on it. They've pulled everything. There's Reddit feeds. You are donezo. Just come forward and say that you did bad crimes.
This whole circus, it was pure celebrity narcissism, wrapped in court documents and disguised as a legitimate case. Classic Hollywood move.
That regarding this Blake, Ryan, Justin case, that things may have just transformed from civil to criminal.
While we were out here enjoying Easter with family and chocolate eggs, Blake was blowing up courtrooms with the legal drama no one asked for. Girl, read the room.
Because this is going to be wild. It's unbelievable.
April 1st, 2025, Candace Owens decided to end the charade. And no, it wasn't an April Fool's joke. This was real, raw, and beyond humiliating for Miss Plantation Wedding Blake.
And by the way, I want to say this could have all been avoided if they had listened to me when I told them, drop the lawsuits. Just drop. When you know you are doing nothing good, get out of doing the nothing good as soon as possible, especially when the whole world is watching and you've got mommy sleuths on the case.
It turns out Blake's lawsuit against Justin Baltoni had zero footing. No facts, no evidence, just ego and smoke. Owens called it what it was, white-collar cosplay in stilettos.
But there were still some elements that didn't make sense, which is when Blake and Ryan began colluding with the New York Times, we didn't understand how exactly Stephanie Jones' PR was able to give these messages to the New York Times ahead of time.
Blake didn't just file a case, she basically wrote courtroom fan fiction. Her evidence was funneled through a mystery company named Vance & Inc., which is, you guessed it, owned by her and Ryan Reynolds.
Which is also the reason why the Daily Mail started digging into things, because they were like, oh, we've seen the subpoena, who is Van Zandt?
Instead of wearing a disguise, Blake wore a fake company. She should have known better. Serena Vanderwoodson would never.
And then somebody in the group, maybe it's Ryan Reynolds, I think it's Ryan Reynolds, says, whoa, 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 was that legal? We have the messages and we're gonna go to press and we're gonna fight this in the New York Times, but like, can we get in trouble? And they all scrambled on the back end and they said, holy crap, we need to pretend that there's a real subpoena.
And here's the kicker. The lawsuit didn't even name real people, just some Jane Does and a string of legal jargon that sounded like a parody of itself. Imagine feeding ChatGPT 10 buzzwords and asking it to write legal drama. That was Blake's whole case.
It just says the lawsuit lists 10 Jane Does. So they didn't list any defendants. It's just like anonymous 10 people that we're filing a lawsuit against. We are Van Zandt LLC.
Even wilder, the lawsuit wasn't filed to fix a wrong. It was filed after the PR team already snatched an employee's phone. Yup, Jennifer All had her phone taken before any subpoena was ever filed.
I mean, we're talking like toxic relationship with your employer. Doesn't matter what the reason is that someone wants to leave. They want to leave, let them go. Goodbye, okay? You can't have this sort of a relationship.
On August 21st, 2024, PR chief Stephanie Jones pulled a mob boss move, grabbing Jennifer's phone with backup from security, legal, and her own squad. And Blake? Silent approval.
But she was under a lot of pressure and she thought, well, does this mean she's gonna steal more clients from me? I made Jennifer able. No one leaves me and takes one of my clients.
Here's where the timeline blew up. That supposed subpoena, it didn't arrive until October 1st. 41 days later, they were sitting on stolen data for over a month.
Right before she's about to leave, Steph Jones calls her in. She's got a lawyer. She's got the, chief level. I think it was the CEO there. She's got security, and she's like, we need your phone because we have a subpoena that we're complying with.
Oh, and that ghost company, Vance & Inc., registered in Delaware. Suspicious already. And its New York office, Blake and Ryan's management office. Subtle.
Look at this. The plaintiff is Van Zandt Incorporated. This is an LLC that is owned by Blake Reynolds that nobody would have known to look for. We're gonna get more into the details of that, right?
Vance & Inc. did nothing but receive 2 deliveries, not legal documents, not office supplies, just fabric and doors. Interior decor, baby.
They never wanted the public to find it, okay? They never wanted the public to find this. This is, again, they're trying to work backwards to legitimize something that they likely stole. So I'm gonna read you directly from this sham lawsuit.
And those shipments weren't even under Blake's name. They used the alias Molly Carta Caro, a Vision PR rep, another puppet from the Blake PR empire.
Tried to pretend that she complied with it, but this was all being done backwards. She had already taken the phone, and that's why she never wanted to show anybody this subpoena, okay? That's why she was being weird, cagey. They wouldn't answer the lawsuit because they had hid it purposely because it's a sham.
And Molly, yeah, she's linked to Taylor Swift music videos, the same ones Blake directed. So now we've got fake lawsuit, shell company, stolen phone, 2 PR firms, and a Swiftie connection.
That fabric and doors was shipped to the name, because they probably don't want to put their name on it, Molly Caro. Okay, this is the only business action. If you go through Van Zandt incorporated documents, it shows you that this was shipped to Molly Caro on behalf of Blake.
Vance & Inc. didn't have clients, just subpoenas and hardwood floors. This was PR meets Pinterest disguised as legal action.
So they actually found a lawyer to give them advice and to tell them how to file a fake lawsuit so that they could use that fake lawsuit to pretend that they legally took Jennifer Abel's phone.
Once Blake had that phone, she didn't return it. She started passing private messages to journalists and lied about a subpoena that didn't even exist yet.
Jennifer Abel's crying. She's like, I've had this phone number since high school. What do you mean? It has all my pictures, my Facebook, everything. And she's like, nah, hand over your phone right now. It's going down like this, okay? She hands over her phone, and there you have it. Suddenly, these text messages that are in her Jennifer Abel's personal phone end up in the New York Times.
To cover the theft, they filed the lawsuit after grabbing the phone. That's not just shady. Legal analysts are calling it obstruction of justice. That's 10 years in prison, shady.
There's Reddit feeds. You are donezo. Just come forward and say that you did bad crimes.
And the final subpoena? Not signed by a judge, not assigned to a clerk, didn't even mention Justin Baldoni. Basically, Blake faked her way into power. And let's not forget the plot twist that no one saw coming, but everyone felt. August 29th, just days after the phone was yanked like it was a purse in a heist movie, Ryan Reynolds, yes, Deadpool himself, starts sending frantic texts to Leslie Sloan. And these weren't, hey, hope you're well kind of texts. No, these were full-on damage control panic messages. The kind of texts you send when you know the walls are closing in. He's telling her, don't speak to anyone, don't engage, don't respond to press. Ryan, no one even asked you anything yet, but go off. It was like he was pre-writing his alibi in real time, not realizing Candace Owens and half the internet would eventually piece it all together like a forensic jigsaw puzzle. Meanwhile, while Ryan was busy trying to play cleanup crew, Blake's team was allegedly feeding the illegally obtained texts to journalists like Megan Twohey from the New York Times. Oh yes, honey, they weren't just holding the phone, they were out here running a full PR buffet with it. And the worst part? The article was already in the works before the lawsuit was even filed. Let that sink in. They were crafting the narrative in the media before they even tried to make it legal. Like, girl, your PR is running faster than your legal team. The whole operation screamed, oops, we broke the law. Now let's build the story backwards and pray no one notices. Except everyone noticed. Even the New York Times metadata betrayed her. The timing didn't match. The narrative was already circulating before there was even a single court filing. And Blake thought she could get away with it. Because when you're Time Magazine's most influential, you assume you can bend reality. And the law. But not this time. Because Judge Lehman, he wasn't playing. He took one look at that subpoena and said absolutely not. Called it out for what it was, a privacy violation dressed up in courtroom drag. He ripped that foundation out from under her case so fast, Blake probably felt her Louboutins wobble. And with the subpoena tossed out, guess what's left? Nothing. No evidence, no credibility, just a pile of glitter and PR emails. Even ChatGPT, yes, even the AI, knew this lawsuit was garbage. One legal podcast even joked that a toaster had better legal instincts than whoever filed this. It was that bad. The experts are calling it a fraudulent filing, and Blake's team, they're now scrambling to prevent it from escalating. But it's already escalated. Brian Friedman is not just calling for a dismissal, he's pushing for sanctions. Rule 11 sanctions. Which, in human speak, means Blake could be formally punished by the court for making it all up. Lying to the legal system isn't just a bad look, it's a legal catastrophe. And if that happens, this case won't just disappear. It will be stamped in legal history as a cautionary tale. Even worse for Blake, If the court agrees that she filed in bad faith, she could be on the hook for Baldoni's legal fees, court costs, and possibly damages for emotional distress. Oh, and reputational destruction? That ship already sailed and sank. And then there's Van Zen Inc. Oh, that sneaky little ghost of a company? Turns out Blake and Ryan didn't mention it once in their cease and desist letter. Not one single time. Why? Because acknowledging it would connect the dots between them and the illegal subpoena circus they tried to run. Strategic erasure, anyone? It's almost like they were playing chess with invisible pieces, hoping no one would look too closely. But Candace Owens? She pulled the curtain back. She pointed to the puppet strings, and the whole stage collapsed. Let's also talk about Leslie Sloan, the PR queen in pearls. She was threatening Jennifer Al with a lawsuit on the very same day the phone was taken, August 21st. How did she know what was in the messages before the subpoena was filed over a month later? Exactly. It wasn't just a misstep, it was premeditated. They took that phone, saw the content, and then built a legal plan backward to cover their tracks. This wasn't justice. It was a revenge tour in a courtroom wig. And who else is tangled up in this mess? Samantha Katz. A name that sounds like a sitcom character but is now very much part of a legal thriller. She's tied to the firm Manat, Phelps & Phillips and now allegedly connected to some very questionable decisions. If you need a red flag timeline, let's spell it out. July 10th, Jennifer Al resigns. August 21st, Stephanie Jones snatches the phone. September 27th, sham lawsuit filed. October 1st, fake subpoena. By the time the paperwork showed up, they had already committed what legal experts are calling privacy piracy. That's not a term to take lightly. Under federal and California privacy laws, what they did could fall under illegal surveillance, identity theft, and, wait for it, obstruction of justice. This isn't gossip anymore, this is felony territory. And now the public's catching on. Even Blake's fans are starting to squirm. People are asking, why would you risk it all for a couple of text messages? If the harassment was real, where's the legit proof? Why not use proper channels? Why make a fake company, fake defendants, and sneak behind legal doors? Because it was never about justice. It was about control. Control of the narrative, control of the media, control over a former employee who dared to walk away. This was Blake's ego dressed up as a lawsuit, and now it's turning into her downfall. Even that infamous Vox article from years ago is trending again, the one that called her out as a soulless, privileged blonde with zero depth. Back then, people thought it was harsh. Now, it's looking prophetic. Blake Lively is posing on Instagram sipping espresso in Paris like she's not drowning in legal quicksand. But behind the filters and curated captions, her PR empire is collapsing. And the worst part? She dragged Ryan Reynolds into this mess too. Now the whispers are louder. Will Blake be disbarred from the court of public opinion? Will the DOJ actually bring charges? Is Stephanie Jones turning state witness? Is Candace Owens the new Nancy Drew? One thing is for sure, this isn't over. What started as a fake lawsuit has exploded into a Hollywood legal thriller with real consequences. The subpoenas were fake, the phone was stolen, the company was imaginary, and now the fallout is real. This isn't Gossip Girl, this is the real world. And in the real world, no amount of curated influencer posts, staged paparazzi shots, or publicist spin can save you from a federal indictment. So stay tuned, because if Blake thought this was just a bad press cycle, she's in for a rude awakening. Justice isn't a hashtag, and this time, the court doesn't care about your follower count.